Hello, Facebook. This is Kristen, your high performance health mentor. I am here live interviewing Laura Virili. And give me 1 second while I just make sure that we are live. Got to check my phone out. Okay, we are there. You guys, welcome to our Fit for Success podcast. Again, my name is Kristen Nolan. I'm a health expert and speaker for busy professional women and men. And today I'm interviewing Laura Virili, who is a social selling coach, consultant, speaker, and educator who has spoken in front of tens of thousands of people over the course of her career. She's a former VP of marketing, communications, and training at Merrill Lynch. And Laura specializes in training financial advisors and RIAs, which she just told me what that was, and I forgot. She'll tell you herself in a second. In social selling, LinkedIn, and Sales Navigator, building relationships and generating trust and referrals. She is constantly on the road traveling and speaking, and today we're going to learn how Laura stays in incredible shape while traveling for her business. Laura, welcome to our show. Thank you so much for being here today.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for having me. It's an absolute pleasure.
This is great. And by the way, this is Laura's first Facebook Live. So if you are with us live, go ahead and leave us a comment. Show Laura some love. We are so excited to have her today. And RIA is a regional investment advisor, correct?
That is correct. That is correct.
I got stage fright. I forgot.
It's okay.
This is great. Good. Awesome. So let's dive right in, Laura. Can you tell our audience a little more about the work you're currently doing to help financial advisors develop their personal brand, social media platforms, and why this is such a big passion of yours?
Yes, absolutely. So I work with primarily financial advisors, but I also work with other professionals out there. My niche is financial advisors and RIAs, registered investment advisors. And my message spans beyond the community, but again, I've spent most of my career with the industry, with the financial services industry. So therefore, that is where I'm spending most of my time today. However, I also train and educate other professionals, C-suite executives as well. So today we all know that we're brands. At the end of the day, there's 2-year-olds out there with larger personal digital footprints than you and I have combined. So It's really important that you get your hands around your personal brand now, because if you don't take control of it, it's just going to happen to you. So you have to control what's out there. You have to control the messaging. You have to control who you are. You have to control what you look like, because people want to do business with human beings. They no longer want to do business with companies. They want to do business with people. For example, I think it's Verizon. Verizon's Twitter account has less subscribers than the CEO of Verizon, because people want to connect with people. They want to do that business with people. So you have to make sure that you're showing up in real life as well as online with your best foot forward, meaning that it's very important that your appearance is always spot on. Now, granted, when I go to the gym, I don't exactly do my hair and makeup, but it is what it is, right? You have to make sure that when you behave, wherever you are, you're behaving in a way that reflects your brand, because that might end up showing up online as well.
Right.
And then it's how you communicate. How are you communicating online? How are you communicating when you're on a Facebook Live broadcast or a podcast, or if you're presenting on stage, or if you're speaking to a prospect or a client? How are you communicating? How are you using your voice? How are you using your emails, your text messages? All of that matters, because it all goes back to your brand. And then, of course, if you look at the digital side, how is all of that being translated on your digital footprint, your digital first? Because I call it the digital first, because that's basically how people learn about you. What do you do when you're introduced to someone? The first thing I did was Google you. That was the very first thing I did. And it's your digital first impression of the world. How did you show up? What did you look like? What were you sharing? What was your behavior? How were you communicating? So you have to make sure that you have all of those components in place to make sure that you're showing up in the world with a great brand. And that's offline and it's online as well.
I absolutely love how much you dig into appearance and who you are and how you're showing up as being an amazing reflection of your personal brand. Because I think when most people think about a personal brand, they're thinking of a logo, right? What do I slap on a Word
That's right.
document? Or they're thinking about a website, like what do I explain about my program? But really what you're saying is now, in the now, people are buying you. They're not
That's right.
necessarily buying, right? They're not necessarily buying your product. They're buying you. And I thought that was a really interesting tip about the Verizon CEO. He has more followers than the company. That's huge. That's a
That's right.
big
Because
aha.
that's a big aha.
Yeah.
And I believe there's others out there right now in the Twitter universe, same
Hmm.
exact thing is happening. Because when something happens at a company and the company puts out a publication, people are like, okay, who's writing that? But if they hear from
Right.
the CEO of the company, it's completely different. And if that CEO is humanizing himself and he's showing himself mountain biking or skydiving or kayaking or whatever, people can connect. And that's what we need. Even though we're acting like robots now more than ever, because everybody's walking around with a device in their hand, we,
Right.
right? We are literally all, walking around with these devices. We look like robots. It's really kind of
Hmm.
scary. But because we're all acting like robots, I believe we want that human connection even more. And again, it's, how are you communicating? Because you really have to be careful in terms of how are you communicating online and how are you acting offline as well. It's really
Hmm.
those two universes intersecting at this point in time, which is so incredibly important. And it's really important for the millennials who did grow up since 5 years old. They grew up online
Right.
and they just
Hmm.
have different expectations. So they really need to be mindful of how they're showing up because they also idolize folks that are in hoodies.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
there is a perception out there of people that, walk around with hoodies. Okay, if you own the company, you can walk around in a hoodie. But
Or
if
a
you're
Hawaiian shirt, whatever.
exactly, or a black turtleneck,
And
right?
flip flops.
Yes, 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 yes. But when it's at the end of the day, if you're, building your brand or you're building your
Mm.
career, it's best that you show up in that dressing for that profession.
Right. Okay. I
Yeah,
got you. Well, speaking
yeah,
of showing up, one thing that I love about you is how involved you are in speaking and sharing your message from big stages. And
yeah.
the thing that I know about most speakers or anyone who travels for work, they feel like it's impossible to take care of themselves on the road, but you do such an amazing job with this and your schedule is packed back to back. And I just learned that you have a family that you're taking care of too. So give
Yeah.
us the rundown. How do you manage to keep your body healthy and energized while you're on the road? What tips can you give our audience about the things that you do to stay healthy while traveling for business?
Yeah, yeah, thank you. So it is definitely a challenge, I'm not going to lie. But what I try to do is every day that I'm home, I try to get to the gym. Period. No
Hmm.
negotiation. And when I go
Hmm.
to the gym, I bring it 110%. I'm going to take difficult classes. I'm going to be in the front of that classroom and I'm going to make sure that I'm giving it my best because when I'm on the road, it is difficult to get to a spin class or a bar class or get some exercise in. But the key on the road is to just make sure your body is always moving and that you
Hmm.
are fueling your body and you're hydrating. So I
Yeah.
never, well, not ever. I try not to drink my calories. So I try to
Hmm.
always have water and then
Hmm.
I'll treat myself with a Starbucks. Now they have a Casara latte or something. It's super great. So there's those little treats on the road. But if I do that, I'm not doing the scone or the muffin that I so,
Right.
longingly want because it's sitting in the case and it looks so pretty. But it's
Yeah.
it's making those choices, and it's
Okay.
walking. It's walking. I
Hmm.
will park in Terminal A, and even if I'm flying out of Terminal F, so that way
Well,
I'm
that's
getting
huge.
yeah
What a great
yeah
tip. That's huge. Actually, I
it's
love
moving.
that.
It's
Yes, it's
moving.
moving.
It's yeah because it all of it adds up. All of those steps add up.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
when you're on the plane, it's making sure that you do get up, walk the aisles a couple times. Who cares what people think? It's
Yeah.
who cares? You're getting in some steps, you're getting in some movement, you're getting that blood flowing. You could
Yeah.
do ankle circles, you could do little leg lifts. I really love the bar method, which
Uh-huh.
are I don't know if you're familiar. I'm sure you're familiar with
Yeah.
the bar method. Yeah.
Sure.
So it's all those little
Yeah.
micro movements, and you can
Mm-hmm.
easily do some of those movements while you're sitting on a plane, certainly in a hotel room easy to download any of it online. It's easy to pack. Resistance bands, paper
Yep.
plates. Paper plates are great for the
For
sliding.
sliding.
For sliding. That's right. That's right. And really to fuel up. So when I'm on the road, I don't really know where my next great meal is coming from. So I will fuel up. So if I have the opportunity to have a big breakfast, I will have a big breakfast. I'll have
Right.
the eggs, I'll have the yogurt, I'll have the banana. I will really stock up on that,
Fuel
because
the
lunch
heck
might,
up.
yeah, because you'll start to fade, and you can't, because it's all about the energy, right? And just
Yes.
to make sure the blood sugar stays level. So I constantly doing research on protein bars, because we know most of them are packed with, sugar and
Crap.
dipped in chocolate, which is, so I'm always on the lookout. I just found out about a new one
Sounds a
from
lot more delicious.
it is more delicious, right? But I just found out about a new one. So I'm always on the hunt for a good bar, because if you
Well,
pack
let me tell you about a good bar.
yeah, please do.
Epic. Have you heard of Epic bars?
I have not.
Oh
No.
my God, amaze balls. You're going to love them. So
Okay.
Epic bars,
Okay.
they're actually like real grass-fed meat
Nice.
protein bars. And my
Yep.
clients love them. So they have
Okay.
different flavors.
Perfect.
They've got bison, they've got beef, they've got, chicken. Do
Yeah,
you eat meat? I
I
didn't even
do.
ask you
I
that.
yeah.
You do?
Yeah,
Okay, cool. So
I
there you
don't
go.
want to, but I have to. Yeah,
But you have to.
I have to. I do. I don't. I don't know if I'm sure you've heard of Eat Right for Your Blood Type and all that great
hmm
that book. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've tried to do the vegetarian route, and I'm just not satiated, and I
Oh
don't
God, me
perform
neither.
well without, yeah, I don't perform
Me
well
neither. Well, you know what?
without the meat.
It's about knowing your body. I mean, that's what it really
That's
comes
right.
down to. So what you're saying is when you're home, it's like, you're in your familiar zone. You can go to the
Yep.
gym, you can drive at
That's right.
home, you can just really, give your all to every fitness class. But when you're on the road, you're in unfamiliar territory. You don't know where your next meal's coming from.
That's right.
You don't really know what's in store for you for the day. You have to be functioning at a high level
Correct.
mentally. So
Yep.
you walk, you do whatever walking you can. You just squeeze things in when you can. And you know what? And I
That's
think that's
exactly
such
right.
an it's so smart, Laura, because the thing is like when you're traveling, it is so much harder to, go in for a really rough workout because
It is.
you
Yeah.
need all that energy for your brain and all the unfamiliar territory that you are charting during the
That's right.
day.
That's right. That's right.
So I love what you do. So basically you have these great sprints at home where you're, getting in the tougher workouts. And then while you travel, it's like, okay, let me just really fuel my body, take care of my body, nourish my body. And then I can function at a high level on the stage. And by the way, God, being on stage, girl, that burns some calories.
Oh, yeah, it does. You're exactly right.
Yeah.
Talk about an adrenaline rush, right? Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh my God. You got it going on. So I love that. And those little tips for just moving when you can, little bar method, exercises on the plane, in your hotel room. That's so perfect. And you know what's amazing about moving your joints is that when you're doing these little movements, even though they don't seem like a lot, you're
Yep.
activating tons of movement receptors. And when you activate tons of movement receptors, that fuels your muscles, it tones your muscles, and it helps your brain function at a high level. So you're doing a lot and you didn't even know it.
Even better. Even better. Awesome. Thank you. Now I'm moving, moving in the chair.
Exactly. Can I ask you, have you ever had a time in your life where you just got so overwhelmed with your business that you totally let yourself go in any area, whether that was exercise, fueling your body, stress management, anything you can think of? And how did this affect your productivity and your ability to show up as a leader and a powerful speaker? And if so, how did you recover?
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Yes, I absolutely did. So last year I spent a lot of time in terms of prospecting and just really showing up every day in my business. So
hmm
what goes first? Meditation goes first. The spirituality goes first for me
Yeah,
anyway, because it's like,
sure.
oh, I don't have time for that. I can do that later, kind of thing. And later never comes. And then your brain goes on overload.
Yep.
So I really and I used to do yoga a lot, and I always say I fell off my mat. So I really have. So I've I've
I
reincorporated
love that.
meditation. I did. I did. I fell off my mat. I really did.
Are
Um,
you okay?
no, not really. Not really. But it's, and I'm sure you know this, it's really a matter of finding the right instructor.
Oh
whatever it
God,
is. Yeah, right?
so huge. It's like
Yeah.
everything. That's
It
everything
is.
right there.
It is.
It
It's
is.
totally enough said, right?
Yeah.
So that was one of the reasons why I fell off the map. But it definitely, in terms of taking that time to rest your brain, I
Hmm.
wasn't doing. And I just started spiraling in ways of just being very agitated and very no patience for anything or anyone. And
Totally.
and I went out with my girlfriend. She's like, we need to go out. I'm taking you out. And I'm like, I almost was like, I don't want to go out because I need to keep working, right? So
Right.
she's like, I'll pick you up. So she
Yeah.
picked me up and we drove to our favorite restaurant. And she's like, we get there. She said, what is wrong with you? I said, what are you talking about? She's like, you are so hyper vigilant. Like you are
Yeah.
so on. You are in attack mode. And she said, you really need to tone it down because
Yeah.
it's not helping you in any area of your life. So I was recently introduced to a great individual. His name is Serrano Kelly. He does a 90-day game, and I'm
Hmm.
playing the 90-day game with him and some other team members that I work with. And with that, the number one thing on the list was meditation. And my gosh, huge difference, huge difference. So it's really important that we take care of our mind just as much as we take care of our bodies, as you know.
Totally.
Yeah, preaching to the
100%.
choir, right? Yeah.
No, this is great. You're preaching to our Facebook audience right now and our big audience on iTunes. So this is incredible. So, okay, so basically what happened was, these things started kind of one by one falling off. Your
Yep.
meditation, your yoga, moving your body, and you noticed that you were getting snappy pants. And I
Oh, big
totally,
time. Yeah.
oh God, I can so relate with that. You know what? Because it's interesting because what I found is that the more of these interviews I do, the more I realize how all the entrepreneurs I'm interviewing have had that time where they did fall off track. They realized
Yeah.
how huge of an effect it had on their mood, their
Yeah.
ability to push forward, make clear decisions, stay motivated, just stay on top of their mental and physical game. And that is why they're so incredibly dedicated to prioritizing themselves now. And even though it's not perfect all the time, I get it.
That's right.
They get the
That's right.
value, right? They get the
That's
value, and at
right.
least their head is trying for that. So,
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And I think we all know the value. It's just
hmm
easy to put it on the back burner, you know?
hmm
Yeah. Yeah. Because we
yeah,
think, oh, if I'm not 100% with my business right now, revenue is not going to be coming in, or I'm not going to be growing, or I'm not going to be the superstar that I am, et cetera, et cetera. And then the next thing you know, you're coming apart at the seams and your snappy pants.
and
I
your
always say I'm
snappy
crispy.
pants. No one wants a snappy pants. What did you say?
I always say I'm crispy.
Crispy.
Crispy. Isn't that a great one? Isn't that a great one?
That's
It's like,
good.
like you see, you picture a piece of toast with like those crispy edges.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
they're the hard edges. I get it.
Yeah,
That's funny. I like that.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
how do you feel your self-care efforts really affect your performance in your business and on the stage? Like, if you have any tangible results that you can think of or that you've noticed, what would those be?
For sure. Well, last week I was in Dallas, Texas, and it was a whirlwind, and each day was packed. And I was the closing keynote at 4 o'clock in
Nice.
the afternoon. Yeah,
Oh,
but
yeah.
I had already done 3 meetings, and this was meeting number four. 3 o'clock in the afternoon, which is 4 o'clock for me because I'm on East Coast time. So
Yep.
now, I know that I'm starting to head south, right?
Hmm.
So, so because of the training that I do when I'm home, all of the fitness classes and the amazing instructors that I have, which today I did a Facebook shout out to them because I knew getting on that stage in front of that audience, closing keynote, they had been there all day listening to other speakers and whatnot. I had to bring it. And
You
because
did.
I was at peak performance, I could dig deep. I had the ability to dig deep. And because I've been practicing my meditation, it's again, all of this comes from the mind, right? I was able to dig deep, take those 5 deep breaths, walk up on that stage and basically take over. And if I didn't fuel up throughout the day. Like literally I had 2 breakfasts and
Yeah.
the one woman I was working with, she's like, well, I don't know if Laura needs breakfast because she already had it. I'm like, nope, I'll take another one. So
I'll take
for the
another.
next
Yeah.
breakfast,
Thank you.
yeah, it's fine. It was an egg white frittata, right? So, but still, it was enough. It was fuel. But in any event, if I didn't, and I stayed hydrated through the day, and as I was being driven to each meeting, I sat in the back and I took those deep breaths and I didn't engage. I did not engage
Nice.
in conversation. I didn't engage in getting on the phone to call back clients,
Whoever.
prospects, anyone, whomever, right?
Yeah.
I didn't check my email. I stayed in the zone,
Nice.
and that is all because of everything that I practice every day. Because once you practice on a daily basis what it is that keeps you focused and fueled, you can then do those long days, and you can be the closing keynote with rave reviews.
That is awesome. I love it. I get excited just thinking about that. You know what? It's so important, like you said, to keep your head in the game, get the distractions away, make sure
Yep.
that you're fueled. I love how present you were staying. I mean, presence is my friend Eleanor Beaton. She always says presence is critical to great leadership and great performance. And I always say,
Yeah.
the backbone of that is absolutely your health and your wellness and what you're practicing
That's right.
before you show up, right? Because that's how you
That's
build
right.
trust. I
That's
love that.
exactly
And
right. Yeah. I mean, look at Tony Robbins, right?
well, preach, mic drop, right? I mean, I always say, like, can you imagine if Tony was like, yeah, guys, no, I'm too busy. I can't work out today. Like,
Right.
you would never hear that.
You would never hear it. It's not
That would never
optional.
happen. It's not an
It's
option.
That's right.
Mm-mm.
That's right.
For people who are keynote, especially like yourself, people who are traveling, speaking, you've got to show up. You've got to bring it every time, or, or you're not going to get hired again, right?
That's right. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. You only get one chance to make a great first impression.
So true. Oh my God, I love it. So tell us, like, what advice do you have for entrepreneurs, or speakers or executives in our audience who still feel like, yeah, Laura, that's all great, but I'm too busy. I just don't have the time to make for myself. What advice do you have for them?
Yeah, it's a great question. Well, with anything, it's micro changes. Just make
Mm-hmm.
small changes. So if sugar is an issue, don't completely just cut sugar out of your diet. Start by, if you put 2 tablespoons in your coffee in the morning, cut it back to 1, then cut it back to a half. And then there might come a time where you don't want any sugar in your coffee, because people don't realize, and I'm sure you do, but people don't realize you can retrain your taste buds. So start retraining, right? Make things, make the micro changes. If it's water, then get a beautiful pitcher and fill that up. If you need 64 ounces a day, get a 64-ounce beautiful pitcher. Go to Home Goods and get one for, I don't know, $7.99. Fill it
Yeah.
up, put some lemons and limes in or whatnot, and then drink it. And celebrate the small wins. So it's definitely the small changes. If it's a time issue, just say, you know what, I'm going to get up 20 minutes earlier every single day, just 20 minutes or 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Give yourself
Mm-hmm.
just 10 minutes or 20 minutes of just that quiet time to ease yourself into the day with some kind of ritual. Or if it's exercise, if you can't get to the gym, then park in a spot the furthest away from your office,
Mm-hmm.
or if you're going into a shopping mall or whatnot, park far away and walk. Take the stairs.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just those little changes, like I said in the beginning, they all add up. All of those little micro changes add up and make a big difference. And I'm sure that you work with clients in terms of, just be mindful of what you're putting into your body.
Mm-hmm.
And if it
Oh, yeah.
boils down to a food log, which I've done, which is very eye-opening, but if it boils down to a food log, then that's what it boils down to, right? Because then you're
Right.
super mindful and you're like, oh my gosh, I
Mm.
actually had this much to eat. But,
Yeah.
I would say start small, and as you start seeing the progress, you start getting addicted to the progress. It's just like working out.
Right.
You go to
Yes.
the gym, you start seeing new muscle definition, or you start losing the weight, or your clothes start fitting differently. And then you're like, oh
Mm-hmm.
my gosh, I did this. And then
Yeah.
it builds from there. And like I said, it becomes addictive, because then you start to feel better. And when you start to feel
Mm-hmm.
better, your body says, I want more of that.
Right.
So it starts,
Give it to me.
it starts small. You can't say, oh, I'm just going to cut out sugar starting tomorrow or whatever. Or I'm going to hit the gym. That's why people, it doesn't work in terms of,
Yeah.
January, your resolution, you go and you're like, oh my gosh, this is so difficult. You know what?
Yeah.
Go and try all the classes and all the instructors and find out the ones that you love. Like we said, it's all about that
About
instructor.
the instructor. Oh my
It is.
God, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that
Right?
you said that. Oh my God, and I totally agree with that. Well, it's interesting too, and this advice is just gold, for everybody who's listening, because I found the same thing with people who will come to see me. It's like, wait, you don't want me to go to the gym for 5 hours a week? I'm like, no. I'm like, start with
Yeah.
5 minutes a day. Like, I have to start with people with 5 and 10 minutes a day, like literally, because they have so much on their plates. I'm like, can we just do that? And once we do that, we can do more, because you're going to start feeling the benefits, like you said. And in fact, I have this one girl who I coach on her metabolism, and I do metabolic measurements with temperature and heart rate, so we can see, how food and how mood and how exercise is affecting the body. And with her, it was so interesting, because just taking 5 minutes, like setting her alarm for 5 minutes earlier, doing some deep breathing, and just focusing on one thing that made her happy for those 5 minutes.
Yep.
Holy guacamole. Her metabolism actually went up the whole day because of that. And we did
Of course.
day comparisons. I mean, it was just amazing, So just
Yeah.
paying attention to mindfulness, exactly like you were saying, and stress management, and just little tiny micro changes. Like I'm sure you teach people to make in their business, right?
That's exactly
You don't just,
right. Yep.
right? You don't just do like this ginormous launch like tomorrow. You put
Right.
little pieces in place, right? Little reach
because
outs.
we're more apt. Yeah, we're more apt to make the changes if they're micro changes. I mean,
If they're manageable.
if they're manageable. That's exactly right.
Yeah,
If
love
it's
it.
too big of a task and it's too overwhelming, we just shut down. And
Totally.
yeah, and I'm sure, as a coach, you're a coach, folks have accountability to you. But if
Yep.
you can have an accountability partner or a workout partner or whatever kind of partner in your life, and someone that's fun, like I have a workout partner that's super fun. We have a blast, and
Nice.
and it's just it makes life just that much more enjoyable.
Yeah.
Yeah, because life is tough. Life is really, really tough. So you really
Yeah.
have to every single choice, down to who you're working out with, who you surround yourself with, is going to affect your performance. Because if you're surrounded by toxic
Right.
people, yeah, it's going to bleed onto you, and then
Yeah.
you're not going to be at your peak performance. And I think right now, in terms of what's going on, so many people are entrepreneurs. And if you look at the escalator of life, you have the baby boomers who are not retiring. There's 10,000 retiring right now a day, so on and so forth. But there's a lot that are not retiring. And then you have Gen X who's staying on that escalator. So you've got the baby boomers jamming up the exit, right? So they're staying in higher level positions. Then you've got the Gen X that are staying in that middle level management, upper management, those positions. And then you have very little entry for the millennials to get on. So they're getting
Right.
on and they're staying in entry level positions, and they're not advancing to the middle management positions. And they want to, of course they do. So they're getting frustrated, and there's 80 million of them, and they're saying, you know what? I'm going to go figure out something else on my own. I'm going to be an entrepreneur.
Right.
And the whole dynamic of corporate America is changing also. So
right.
yeah. So we're going to see huge shifts as we move forward. In the next, I'd say, 5 to 20 years, there's going to be massive shifts in who we are and how we show up in the world in terms of our contributions in the workplace. Yeah, a lot more entrepreneurs. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know what's so great about you, and by the way, if I would love you to share with our audience where they can learn more about you, download any, information that you have, because I know that you are just really staying on top of probably bridging that gap, and seeing, what are the trends with the entrepreneurs? What are the trends with the executives? How is everything coming together? What's going to be happening? What are the latest and greatest, trends? So
Yep.
I know people want to follow you. So tell us, where can people, learn more about you and how you're helping?
Yep. So I have a website, lauravirili.com. And then, of course, I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn. LinkedIn's really my platform of choice because that's where the most folks that I work with and coach hang out, right? That's their social media platform of
their
choice.
jam.
But of course, I'm on the main handles, if you will.
Yeah.
So it's really, and the thing about that in terms of your brand, which I didn't mention in the very beginning, but I'll mention now, is the consistency to make sure that you are showing up, but showing up in an intelligent way. Don't just show up to show up. Kind of like at a meeting, right? Don't just talk to talk. Show up in an intelligent way, add the value, and then you'll see it. And it's not going to happen overnight. We think this is an instantaneous world. It takes time. It takes time. I don't know if you're a fan of Marie Forleo or not.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
You're right. Yep. So Marie Forleo, she says to people all the time, people think I'm an overnight success. I've been doing this business for years.
Yeah. She sure has. Yeah. I remember some of her first videos, and now she's like got this amazing set and interviewing Tony Robbins and all the big guys and gals in the world. It's amazing. So it truly just got to stick with it. So,
and she showed up like every Tuesday, Q&A Tuesday, right?
Yep. Q&A Tuesday.
Q&A Tuesday. She showed up.
Yeah. I do Tuesday tips because of Marie.
There you go. You pick pick a day of the week, right? Because I know she had Jonah Berger on her show, the author of Contagious. He's a Wharton professor. Yeah. And he talks about that. Great book, by the way. And great influencer to follow. Yeah.
Okay.
He's awesome. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Little sidebar.
We'll do that. Side note. Well, speaking of contagious, you are contagious. You're amazing. I'm so glad that we to take your time. Yeah. And have you on our show today. Really appreciate it. And thank you all for joining the interview. If you loved it and you want to know how to work with Laura, please visit her website at lauravirili.com. Check her out on LinkedIn. She's got tons of tips and tricks to show you about how to share your message effectively and attract your ideal clients. Or if you are searching for more energy to get through your day, please visit fitforsuccessquiz.com. That's fitforsuccessquiz.com. That is my assessment. You can see what areas in your fitness, in your life, in your world are maybe making your health a little bit less than you want it to be. Okay, so fill out that quiz. We will get on a private call and talk about how you can make it better and stay energized just like Laura. And we're so excited you joined us today. Thank you so much. And we will see you next time for our next episode. Bye.